Hello and welcome to this video. Now, a word of warning, this isn't going to be like my usual videos. Usually on this channel I share avocado content, which is exactly what I'm doing today, but the twist is that today I'm going to be talking about avocados and The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Well, the sequel, I suppose. So strap yourselves in for some fan theory. My usual viewers of this channel might not know what Breath of the Wild is. The Zelda franchise has been around for decades and has been one of Nintendo's most successful properties. It had a tried and true formula. Link, our hero, would start in a small village, receive a call to adventure due to an impending doom, collect items, take on a few dungeons, be hit by a plot twist, more dungeons and items, then a final boss. For Breath of the Wild, Nintendo took that formula and burned it. Instead of the linear gameplay which we were used to, we were given a massive open world through which the player could literally go wherever they wanted, including straight for the final boss. And fans absolutely loved it. I absolutely loved it. So it's no surprise that when in 2019 Nintendo announced that a sequel was in development, people lost their minds. Hundreds of theory videos have sprung up, and now I'm throwing my hat in the ring, because there are lots of fantastic elements and details in Breath of the Wild, but you know what was missing? Avocados. In this video, I'm going to be arguing my point that avocados would be a rather fitting addition to the sequel of Breath of the Wild. First of all, before we get into how they might fit in the game, we first need to answer the question, are avocados even possible in the world in which The Legend of Zelda takes place? Could avocados exist in Hyrule? Let's examine some of the other fruit that we find in the game. The Legend of Zelda games are developed in Japan, and there are lots of links to Asian culture, including Asian cuisine. Many of the landscapes and environments are also inspired by those found in Asia. And in those are fruits that are found in Asia. There are many fruits in Hyrule which can be found in the real world, or at least have very close real-world counterparts, and many of these fruits are native to Southeast Asia. Mighty bananas and mighty durians, both resembling bananas and durians, are native to Southeast Asia. How does that fit in with avocados? Well, avocados are native to the Americas. So does that disqualify them from being in the game? Well, not entirely. You know what else is native to the Americas? Peppers. Peppers like spicy peppers, which can be found throughout different areas of Hyrule. Based on the existence of peppers, I would posit that it's possible that avocados may exist in the world, even if they don't currently exist in Hyrule. Are spicy peppers native to Hyrule? Well, I don't know. But if they are introduced, there's no reason why avocados might eventually be introduced as well. Where would these avocados come from? And I'm going to be getting into some light spoiler territory now, so if you want to experience a game fresh without any insider knowledge, you might want to not watch this bit, but the game has been out for a few years now. So where would these avocados come from? Well, after Link defeats Calamity Ganon in Breath of the Wild, Hyrule begins to rebuild itself. Cities and settlements are rebuilt, and travellers from faraway lands across the Great Sea may very well find their way to the now prosperous and exciting land of Hyrule. These travellers are likely to bring items and produce from their own lands to trade and sell, or bring to farm as they settle in Hyrule, and one of those items may well be the avocado. Yes, I think that just as happened in the real world, humans will travel bringing avocados with them to grow in tropical and subtropical, even temperate regions, such as many locations within the Kingdom of Hyrule. Do we know that there are other places in this world? Or is Hyrule it? Is it the only country? Well, we know that there are, or at least have been, other countries existing on the same plane of existence as Hyrule, as well as some which aren't, but we'll stick to the ones that are. In Oracle of Seasons and Oracle of Ages, Link finds himself in Holodrum and Labrina, respectively. Might travellers from these places bring avocados? Maybe, but does the existence of other countries and kingdoms suggest more in the wider world? I don't see why not. What better way to signify the rebuilding and strengthening of the Kingdom of Hyrule than by importing from and trading with other countries from all around the world? A result of such economic relationships? Avocados. Who knows, we may even find ourselves travelling to such lands in Breath of the Wild 2. At the time of making this video, we have no idea what's going to happen. Not really, anyway. But there might even be a flying castle to take us to new lands where there may be avocados. I think it's pretty unlikely, but I would suggest that due to the kinds of fruit we already see in Hyrule, it wouldn't be unreasonable to think that avocados exist in the universe in which the Legend of Zelda takes place, and that with travelling to and from Hyrule now that it's rebuilt, avocados may make their way into the Breath of the Wild sequel. So, I reckon avocados could reasonably find their way into the Breath of the Wild sequel, but how would they fit into the game, and would they be a worthwhile inclusion? Well, I think they would be. One of the things Breath of the Wild introduces us to is cooking, and in this game we find one of the greatest way to fill up your hearts and gain some bonus ones is through cooking and eating hearty durians. I'm sure many a player have found themselves in the far-on regions searching for the so-called king of fruits, in order to boost their chances of defeating enemies. But what about avocados? Well, friends, I would suggest that avocados are better. In the real world, avocados contain more energy, fibre and protein than durians, at least comparing gram to gram. So I would think that avocados are an even better source of restoration than hearty durians. And cooking options? Let's think about the cooking options. Avocados are super versatile, being used in cooked meals, cold meals, sweet meals, savoury meals. The possibilities are endless. Do you remember Moza? The woman in the Gerudo Desert near a trash heap who's trying to perfect a recipe book. But if players actually try the recipes she suggests, they just end up with dubious foods. Well, what if all her meals were missing one key ingredient to bring it all together? Something versatile, nutritious, something that doesn't exist in Hyrule whilst she was attempting to make her recipe book. Something like... What a fun way to bring a character into the next chapter of The Legend of Zelda than by enabling Moza actual success in cooking due to avocados. Could avocados just be used for cooking? Well, I don't think so. Let's travel back in time, right to the beginning of the timeline, to the beginning of Hyrule. We know that plant collectors and enthusiasts exist within the world of The Legend of Zelda. In Skyward Sword, one of Link's instructors at the Knight Academy, Instructor Owlin, is a plant collector. I could certainly see an avocado tree appearing within his extensive collection. Perhaps one grown from seed? Whilst we're thinking about Skyward Sword, did anyone notice the carvings in Link's room? Yes, Link in Skyward Sword appears to enjoy whittling and carving. You know what else you can carve? Avocado seeds! Yes, now I know that these aren't the same Links, and that there is literally thousands of years separating Link in Skyward Sword and Link in Breath of the Wild, but they both contain the spirit of the hero. And I think it would be cool if, after defeating Calamity Ganon, Link took it easy in his house in Hateno Village whittling avocado seeds, making jewellery and growing avocado trees and indoor plants. I just think that'd be a nice little detail. Now, this wouldn't be a Zelda theory video if I didn't mention everybody's favourite and underappreciated, definitely not over-theorised group of people, the ancient Zonai. Maybe avocados were native to Hyrule at some point in time. Maybe the Zonai cultivated them and farmed them. Then when the Zonai left Hyrule or went extinct, avocados went with them. In the real world, scientists aren't sure how we still have avocados, as according to our best evidence, the giant ground sloth, the Megatherium, one of the only animals with a big enough digestive tract to eat a whole avocado and pass the seed to cultivate them, went extinct a couple of thousand years before humans began cultivating them. Perhaps the Zonai were actually giant ground sloths, but in this universe avocados weren't so lucky. Actually, that's not such a good idea. Unless it is. So I floated some of my own ideas today, but I wanted to get a word from an expert. So, Hyrule Gamer, what do you think about avocados in Breath of the Wild 2?
Scott, I think you're overthinking it somewhat.
Yes, that may be possible. But I do think a fun twist in this game would be The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Avocados. So to close, I think that Avocados would be an excellent addition to the upcoming sequel to Breath of the Wild. If you enjoy this video, you may enjoy other avocado related content. Please do subscribe to see more. I'd also love to know what you thought about this video and my ideas in the comments below. I'd like to give the Hyrule Gamer a huge thank you for helping me out with the in-game footage for this video. Please do go and give him a watch. He's on YouTube and Instagram as the Hyrule Gamer. If you enjoyed this Zelda content, you might also enjoy my other Zelda project, Hyrule Ukulele, where I play ukulele covers of music from the Legend of Zelda series. Thanks once again for watching. We'll be back to our regular Avocados in real life content next week. Take care out there everyone, and I'll see you next time.